We have brought the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign into our studio. The brain behind the campaign, well, of course, aside the candidate himself, the man who manages the campaign, the man who would celebrate the most on election night if Dr. Bawumia wins, and the man who has to go and hide in Suhum if things don't go well. The Honorable Freddie Koparensa is a former member of parliament and campaign manager of the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign. He's my guest tonight. You're welcome to Point Blank, sir.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Your job is the most difficult one, isn't it?
It has always been. I've always had very difficult jobs, but I always deliver.
You've delivered, eh? And so you are sure that this one too you can deliver?
From where I sit and all I see, I think I'll deliver.
It's looking good.
It's looking very good.
So the structure, apart from the flag bearer, of course, or the presidential candidate, you sit at the top of the hierarchy of the campaign structure.
We have a campaign chairman.
Okay, so the campaign chair is...
Honorable Damboche.
So that's like above you.
Yes, he's the chairman of the whole campaign.
Okay.
And I'm the manager. So you have like a CEO and board chair.
Board chair. Oh, okay. So you run the day-to-day.
Absolutely.
Then the guide comes from the board or the chairman.
The chair.
Okay, interesting. And then you have then the various directorates under you.
Precisely.
I see. But does it mean then that you don't have to deploy to the field, but you rather act from the rear, like rear wing commander, that kind of thing?
Both. I do manage and I also deploy. I just came back 2 days ago from the Buno Ahafu enclave in Ashanti region. So
okay.
I still go out to the field. I'm not an armchair manager. Actually, I'm on the field and working. So, with technology these days, you don't have to be stuck in an office in Accra to manage people and manage systems.
Okay.
So I'm out there, I'm managing, and I'm still also actively involved in the day-to-day campaigning.
Okay, so talking about managing, one of the biggest things you have to manage is to manage the narrative around the economy as you tell Ghanaians to vote for Dr. Bawumia, who has been chair of the Economic Management Committee for the past 8 years. There's a message from John Mahama to you. He sent it to me and he says I should give it to you. I want you to listen and then you respond to that.
Okay.
Actually, that's a message from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'll get you the John Mahama message. But how are you able to navigate your way through on this issue of the economy? In fact, in 92, one of the big slogans of the elections in the US was, "Is the economy stupid?" The economy is the biggest deal in this election. Your man, whom you are selling to Ghanaians, is the man who has been managing the economy. How are you going to navigate your way out of that?
We don't have to navigate our way out of it. We have to face the reality and we have to tell the Ghanaian people as it is.
So you tell Ghanaians that, we have failed in managing the economy, even though we promised you that we're going to reduce the cost of fuel. We told you we're going to reduce borrowing. We told you that interest rates will be better. We told you that we'll arrest the dollar and give the key to the IGP. We have failed in all of these things, but still give us a chance. That's what you'll be.
Not at all. We have not failed in any single one of those points. What we need to tell the Ghanaian is to imagine that for all the things that we went through, can you imagine if John Mahama had been president? Where would we be today? When there was no challenge at all from 2012 to 2017, when he took over from Atta Mills, the economy was growing at 8.8%. By the time he exited 2016, he had shrunk it. It was growing at 3.4%. So imagine going through COVID and all that it represented. Russia, Ukraine, where would we have been by now? He took an economy that had inflation about single digit, about 8 point something. By the time he exited, it was about 70, between 15 and 17%. In fact, he went all the way to 17, came down slightly to about 15.5. And nothing of the sort that we have been through happened. So where do you think Ghana would be? And you know what the challenges he enumerated in his last SONA to Parliament were? He said his challenges were that the tariff bearing on the FPSO had broken, and so they couldn't lift enough oil. Some petty things.
Hand of God.
Were the things that John Mahama told Ghanaians was the reasons for his below stellar performance. So can you imagine today if he had been president from 2017 till, let's say, 2020, or from 2020 till now, with all the challenges that we've been through? We picked that economy he left at 3.4, grew it in 2017 by 8.1%, continued with an average growth of almost 7% till 2020 when we had issues. Obviously, these issues were not locally made. They were global in nature. You've seen the US, you've seen UK. UK changed prime ministers how many times?
So many, like 100 times.
Did it fix the problem?
They eventually had to change the government.
You know what I mean?
So is that not in your... it's actually going to... What you have just said is
what I'm
to your
saying is
disadvantage.
that the people thinking that the solution lied in that change. Was it really that change? So
yeah, that was internal change.
So was it really the cause of the global problem? You understand what I'm saying? That these things we are looking at, all these major economies, Germany, I think they were almost in economic recession, Japan, and all the others. So clearly there's a global problem. So what you're looking at is the John Mahama whose record I've just given you as against Bawumia. Which of these two people is better equipped to deal with the economy, which is now recovering? Clearly, we went in 2022 to 54% in terms of inflation. We are currently near around 20% and projected to be around 15% by end of year. So the things that happened are the things that we need to present as is to Ghanaians. Let them understand what faced this economy, apart from the Russia, Ukraine, and COVID I mentioned. We had to pay IPP, take or pay $600 million annually. Things that were hidden from us. The banking sector cleanup exercise, 25 billion Ghana cedis that we had not budgeted for. I had to look for money to meet. Otherwise, over 4 million Ghanaians deposits were going to go down the drain. All these things are things we need to let Ghanaians understand.
Okay, so you see, Ghanaians would remember the record of Mahama, but they most likely would actually also forget. Donald Trump left office just 4 years ago. Americans have already forgotten what he did and they've brought him back. Mahama left 8 years ago. If you are still, repeating things that he did at the time, you start sounding like a broken record. And people will remember immediately. In fact, you were part of the Kufuor government and you remember Kufuor's campaign in 1999. He said, look inside you, or look at your, my tree is not good, but your assistant.
And that is why...
If people should do that now, judge you by that yardstick, you would fail, wouldn't you?
And that is why I would caution people, because if you recollect, when Kufuor came in, the country was broke in 2001. And the NDC, where if it was that they were shy or felt ashamed to say that they had taken the country to that level, Kufuor declared us HIPIC. And through that, we got some forgiveness of debt. He was able to get the country back on track to the point where by the time he left office, we were a lower middle income country, from a HIPIC country, a heavily indebted poor country, to a lower middle income country. That is the work of Kufuor. What happened? We had the Wall Street situation, if you recollect, which caused some economic issues, and the U.S. wars in
the meltdown,
Middle East as well, which affected fuel, crude prices. Crude prices went as high as $128 per barrel during the latter part of Kufuor administration. And the combined effect of these two brought some challenges on Ghanaians. And Ghanaians reacted by voting the NDC into power. What happened? That is how, by the time they were leaving office, our economy was back in tatters. And we had to come and take it over and start fixing it.
And you've run it aground.
We haven't run it
handed it over to the IMF to manage for you. You said to us we are master managers of the economy.
The challenges that we were faced with.
Yes.
Okay, we were talking about tree adages. There's an adage in tree that says, "A krua, a to, a kramaya pampum, a kebo, another animal, kokosechia, kasamri, baby, onenamno. You know, that kind to wait.
Yeah, but
the challenges that we were faced with, if it had been them that had been faced with that challenge, perhaps the exchange rate will be through the roof today.
But my mother also told me that when God wants to kill a dog, he puts a saw or a crow on the head.
On the head, yes.
And because he cannot lick it, houseflies will disturb him. You appear to have a crow on your head now. Because all the indicators that you used to boast of are not working in your favor. I bought fuel today, it was 14 cedis per liter.
I understand. But
and if you go to change dollars, it's worse.
But these...
So despite everything you have explained, so you're suggesting to us that we should appreciate you for what you have brought us into?
Precisely.
Why?
My point being that, and that's why I was referring to Kufuor's administration at the tail end, the challenges that came up, Ghanaians looked at that and believed in the lies that were spewed by the NDC. If you recollect Fifi Kwete and co, telling Ghanaians Kufuor and co have stolen all the gold in the vaults. They have huge bank accounts, actually printed bank account of government ministers and appointees, and put huge sums of money and circulated this. And today, even because of social media, it's much easier to disinform and misinform. And that was the kind of campaign they launched, won the election. 6 months down the line, even after we had discovered oil and the economy was now having oil revenue injected into the economy, they still managed to deflate the economy to the levels that they now had to carry the country back to the IMF when there had been no international crisis there. And that is the kind of difference that we need to understand.
But if you say they went to the IMF 6 months into the administration...
No, not 6 months late. I was saying that within 6 months, when you were even looking for people who voted for the NDC, it was difficult. Everybody said, no, I wasn't part of it.
That's just propaganda.
It wasn't propaganda.
The people who voted,
that is how bad it was by middle of 2009. Nobody wanted to be associated with
that would be propaganda. If that's the case, they wouldn't have gotten a second mandate in 2012.
To the point where, but you remember the election petition of 20,
which you lost.
Which you look at how the Supreme Court ruling went.
How did you go? It said you lost.
It was clear that Nadu told him he accepted it.
Yeah, he can only disagree.
For the sake of the peace of the country. But you lost the election.
The president of the panel, as I remember it at the time, William Tugwa, said the overall effect of their decision is that the petition has failed. So your petition failed. You've lost at the polls. You lost in the Supreme Court.
But I'm saying that
like
if it was clear, a clear win, because they had performed,
you lost.
It wouldn't have been what we had in that election. In any case, the point I was seeking to make there was the fact that they inherited an economy which was super. Kufuor left for them, had just found oil, gave the oil to them, they inherited all the oil revenue. So if you look at the 2009 growth rate, because oil had just come in, was about the highest we've ever seen, I think around 13 or 14%. Then it started going down like that. And Mills left it even around 8.8, but Mahama took it and all the way down to 3.4. Now, at that point, they had gone into an IMF program, and not only were they in the program, the government's own fiscal space was so congested and so it had really shrunk to the point where there was no fiscal room to do anything. That was why we had Drumso. That was why they cancelled nursing and teacher training allowances, because government did not have room to operate within its own budget. The economy was simply collapsing.
Let me talk about people who are not able to operate in their own pension funds, and that's what John Mahama has been speaking about, which is the message I wanted to give to you. The DDEP, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, appears to be one of your major problems too. And for the first time, I saw a former Chief Justice on the streets demonstrating. And this was a Chief Justice appointed by the man who is currently the president of the land. I mean, it was the shock of my life. And to see old people demonstrate for days under the rain, under the sun. I want us to listen to John Mahama because he believes that's one of the banes of this country, of this government. And I'll ask you to respond to that.
Okay. Na Arabia. Na oyenipa owo onwa de juba ye pharmaceutical industry ono ene of Kama group of industries Nyametonsa Efreno. Na sana sa arevosem ebesino. Afie twemu no. Abra MPP aban eye ni friend debt exchange. Aban we bobosia sa meboduru mrebi omutime tuabio. Free 2018 epe pem 2021 omoko abrochire ekoje sika $11.5 billion. Enti ebedu se omutime tuaka ni bio. Enti wabo aban bosia ye will be a friend of bond. Say o person bo aban bosia otimi koto bond no ana woto treasury bill no. Enti aban beji say sika no no mo de aye bibi. No mo aka che say enfie miensa ye betua o sika. Na sa papa yi ode ne sika ni bi ekwohye sa bond no mo na ko wiase afọ na nyina investment a ubetimi aye a wonim se kenkin ake won sabeka o sika ene se ode o sika abo aban bosia. So bonds are the safest investment anywhere in the world except in Ghana under MPP administration.
So that's John Mahama speaking about the late chief executive of the Kama Group of Companies, Michael Ajikumado. He's talking there about the domestic debt exchange, and he talks about the loans you went for as a government. Clearly, you don't want to blame your obsession with loans on Russia and Ukraine or COVID-19, do you? Because he says you've become the worst government in the world to trust with your bonds.
Umaru, I was a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament before I left Parliament in 2021. And before COVID, our debt levels were sustainable. Okay. You know, you recollect Nanado telling us how he can't bring people back from the dead, but he can resuscitate the economy and bring it back to life.
Which appears to be a problem now.
It is not a problem. It is happening. We are growing faster than even pre-COVID days if you look at our quarter to quarter this year. And so, first of all, most of the borrowings we did pre-COVID were borrowings we did, a lot of which was to refinance NDC debts. Because at the time
and
they
MPP
were...
debts.
No.
Legacy debts.
At the time, NDC was borrowing. Because the economy was so bad and ratings were not good. All the coupon rates and things were so high. And so when we came in and we had more favorable conditions, we did some borrowing to refinance those ones to make sure that... But that's something
all of you do.
Yes, precisely. So I'm saying that. So they went and borrowed up to this tune that he's talking about. It's not as if all that borrowing went simply into doing other things. Some were to refinance debts.
But when they also came, they borrowed to pay back Kufuor's debts.
So you have to understand that. I'll be surprised because Kufuor's time, our ratings were better than their time.
But they still had to pay.
So, yes, but they didn't borrow to refinance Kufuor's debts.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm saying that. You see, based on the rating of the country, when you go onto the bond market. In fact, Kufuor's time, we went first, the Eurobond, $750 million at the time. That was the first biggest thing Ghana did as far as international commercial market borrowing was. But when they came, because the economy wasn't too good, the rates at which they contracted these loans were higher. And so you were paying, and servicing those debts were very expensive for us. And so when we get access to some facility, we go take it, clear the old one, and it becomes a new debt at a lower cost. That is what we were doing until COVID came. When COVID came and you hear IMF has given us 1 billion, World Bank has given us this amount, they were funds that you were borrowing. At the same time, you had shut down the economy. So government wasn't making any revenues in the productivity was near zero. You get it. In addition, you were providing so many freebies also for the population to sustain people. You had asked people to stay at home, not go to work. Electricity consumption was up because people were staying at home.
But you have levied that. So we've been helping you pay for all these things you've been doing anyway. You will still pay for that levy.
Yes, we even had to reduce CST because people were now working from home. So government revenues really took a major dive. And that is where we now had a challenge where our debt to GDP ratio became higher. So there is a clear explanation to all that. It is not just because the government had gone on some borrowing spree and misusing and misapplying the funds. In any case, the funds that were borrowed for the sake of doing projects, they are all around and you can see them. Mega projects all over. Have you been to Sahom lately?
No, what's there?
Look at the road that we are constructing there.
Huge. Constructing or constructed? Let's talk about.
We're still there.
No, let's talk about what you have constructed. When Mahama was living in 8 years, he wouldn't say, look at what I'm constructing. He would tell you, I've constructed Terminal 3. He would tell you, I've constructed the one at Circle, Dubai Interchange. He would tell you, I have done the hospitals, UGMC, the Bank of Ghana
UGMC
hospital.
was not completed.
No, it was left behind. Was very ready to be
very ready is not ready.
No, very ready. So so he'll tell you he has completed. It was not completed. You cannot list what you have completed.
We took a load to do the phase 2 of UGMC.
You tell us that you would build 111 hospitals for us. We're all happy. We clap for you. As we speak, even the one that was there before you came, the La General Hospital, you destroyed it because you said you were going to put up a new one. It's still at ground zero.
It was not part of the agenda.
I know. I'm just saying that what you said you would do, you have not done. We are not even worried about. At least the one that was there before you came.
Yeah.
That one too. So
there are several health facilities this government has done, started, and completed.
Really, mention one in the eastern region.
Plenty.
Mention two nationally. Mention two nationally.
I can give you a whole list.
Not Chiefs Compound, though.
Not Chiefs Compound.
Hospital.
If you go to
district type of hospital,
if you go to Suhum, Kwabena Kubi, there is one there. I can tell you plenty.
And it's a water hospital. What level?
Plenty.
It's a district hospital.
As I can give you, no, Suhum has a district hospital already.
So what hospital has been left for you in the eastern region?
We are building a new regional hospital.
You are building. You see, I'm saying that what have you built, not what you are building. Because you see, we want to say that this is Akufo-Addo's legacy. In fact, I spoke to the NDC, the campaign spokesman before you came, and she said that even the interchange around the Sekendi where you went to install the statue of the president, you have not finished fixing that road. And yet, the only project finished in the whole of Western region is Akufo-Addo's statue. How do you respond to that?
It's a hospital that he went to, not an interchange.
I mean, the statue is done by the road, in the middle of the runabout.
It's not true.
And that road itself has not been...
The interchange...
I've seen the video, the road
the
has not been done.
interchange had to be put on ice because of the debt exchange program.
And yet you can put a statue there. Don't you think...
I am not really privy to this statue matter. But I am sure whoever built it had good cause to put it there. Perhaps in appreciation of all the works that the president had done.
We need to wrap up, but I have a question for you before you go.
Yes.
When they accuse you of saying this, and this is Dr. Bawumia, my government is not doing well, but when you vote for me, my government will do better. How do you explain that?
Dr. Bawumia has never said the government.
That's what the NDC is saying. He's saying,
but
essentially.
That is why I told you the kind of things the NDC said in 2008.
So we have a minute to wrap up. I just want you to...
That's why I said
why should Ghanaians give him an option?
Because if you compare Dr. Bawumia with the alternative, which is John Mahama, it is clear his time as vice president, he has demonstrated that if he's given the opportunity, he will be able to do far better than John Mahama ever did as president. Because of the limited capacity he has as vice president, the kind of things he's been able to champion with the blessing of the president, which everybody in the country, everybody in government knows that they are all attributable to him. That is why he's saying that if you give me now the mandate to be the full president with all the executive powers as the Constitution confers on the president, I will deliver far better than my opponent ever did in the 4.5 years he spent as president.
Mr. Frederick Oparansa, Chairman, Campaign Team, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, thank you for joining us on Point Blank. Campaign Manager, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia Campaign. Thank you so much for joining us on Point Blank.
Thank you,
wish you
all
the best.
Thank you.
We'll see you on
But I'll send you a full list of all the hospitals we have completed once I get in the car.
Okay. But I wish you had mentioned it now so that I don't have to...
There didn't seem to be enough time to... It's a whole tall list. And that is not Agenda 111. We're talking different hospitals.
But I see, I mentioned Shai Osudoku District Hospital for John Mahama. I have mentioned UGMC. I
said UGMC was not complete.
I disagree with you because here as a radio station, we started a campaign and told Kwekwa Jimame to open that hospital because the hospital was built and fitted.
My daughter is in medical school. I took her there to do her, when they come home, they have to do some work. The doctors told me they have nothing there to enable students to even work there.
They left.
He had to do it at 37.
Fine, he left for Hoyogan East Hospital, which he went to use to manage COVID-19. Can you mention hospitals of that stature?
I'll send you a full list, and they are in excess of about 47 of them. I'll send you the entire list.
I hear you.
And I pray when you have the next opportunity, you have the list. I want you to go through the entire
When
list.
you send me that list,
Yes.
I will send it to our correspondents to do fact-checking, and then after that, we'll announce here that...
Please, I'm throwing that challenge.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.
And none of those would be part of Agenda 111.
Very well. I hear you. Thank you so much. And please remember the La people. They don't have a hospital. You destroy the one they have.
These days, the NDC have stopped going there to cry.
Because they realize that
we
you
have
don't
started
listen.
building and it's coming up.
Hey,
We are working, yes.
What level has it reached?
It's come up.
Yes,
you should go there.
Okay, I'll tell my
Correspondent to go there.
Yes,
Let them check.
Thank you.
They are working.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.